Alright, you know it, you love it, you need it. Cookie clicker. Without this addictive game, you would instantly die of boredom and dissatisfaction upon logging into your school or home computer. Just look at this riveting gameplay. You're telling me you would rather do anything else? But I want more, you know? More immersion, more freedom, more cookies. So I decided to make a VR game out of this timeless classic. First the basics, like creating a project, importing VR stuff, placing the floor, and making a player. Okay, that went smoothly. Now that we have everything prepared, let me explain my simple plan. I want to make a classic cookie clicker game, but you know, for VR. But that means the clicking part of the game needs to change, because just tapping this button 100 times a second would be a huge waste of VR tech. So instead, we are going to crush a giant cookie with our bare hands, and every time we hit it, we get a cookie. Then we enter counter, some upgrades, and the game is done. Easy. Now let's focus on the crushing, clicking / punching. At first I thought, well, if I'm gonna punch a cookie in the face, it better be a physics-based cookie. So I made it possible for my hands and cookie to collide with each other, and when they do, the button will go down a little with your hand, and one cookie gets added to a counter. This is the simplest solution. Simple yet effective. I had all of this set up in like half an hour. Wait, what is this? Well, that's a problem. Alright, so as it turned out, counting on physics to be precise and reliable was a mistake. Plus, while I was having some weird issues with the button, it finally occurred to me that moving the cookie with the physics didn't even look that good. So I switched to a new plan. The hands are as good as they'll ever be. Besides the looks, of course. So let's make a cookie that detects collision with the player's hand, adds one cookie, then plays an animation and spawns a bunch of particles. And the great thing is, unlike this setup, it works flawlessly. I also molded my hands into a much more fitting shape and added the greatest outline effect ever. Now, with that solved, it's time to give a little thought to upgrades. I decided to have 3 upgrades. One gives you more cookies per hit by hand, another gives you extra hands that will punch a cookie for you, and finally, upgrading and buying the cookie itself. I started out with the first one. The code is pretty simple, so I won't even explain it. Instead, I'll show you my new upgrade button, which is an exact copy of the original cookie button, and signs. One for the upgrade name and one for the upgrade cost. Now you might be asking, why do I have an unstoppable urge to lick that button? Because it's handy. And why do you need those old-timey signs? Well, I think it's rather obvious. Once again, it's that time of the year and we are making a game about cookies. So why not make it about a bad kid that Santa kidnapped and now is making him to punch a magic cookie to make more smaller cookies for him. I say it's a perfect setting for a game, but I digress. The next upgrade on my list was the auto-clicking one. Pretty simple stuff. I made an array with upgrade cost, and every time I smash this button, it checks if I have enough cookies, and if I do, it makes this crazy automated crushing arm visible. You can get 4 of these bad boys for every button you have, which is pretty good considering they make like 10 cookies per hit right now. And finally, the cookie upgrade button. This little fella is a little tricky. With this button you can upgrade your cookie to make up to 100 cookies per hit, but if you want to upgrade it more, you can. You get a new cookie to hit instead. The logic behind this was unfortunately too complicated for my now shrunk and tired brain. So when I encountered one pretty much unsolvable bug, I suddenly decided it's much better to run away from our problems and make art instead. That means I started a blender and in a couple hours made ground, presents, candy canes, trees and lights. Everything textured and ready to be used in Unity. Then I was like, I still don't want to solve my problems. Let's get everything into Unity and build a scene. But that still wasn't enough for me. I needed to run some more. So I also made lighting and generated a new skybox. Honestly, it took a couple of hours, but the game now looks great. Worth it. And only then, after that long detour, I was ready to solve that upgrade bug. Which I did right away and didn't take me like an hour to solve it, and it didn't make me regret coming back to it at all. But now that everything was working and playable, you might notice it's not much fun just to punch a cookie in VR and see a giant number grow. No, it needs a distraction, a little more action. Something like a robot Santa threatening to drop a giant gift on your head if he doesn't get his daily dose of milk in time. Now that's what I call a thrilling gameplay. You might think that all I did today is kinda stupid because playing any VR game for longer than 10 minutes turns your PlayStation into a workout, and this game will really work that muscle. But think again. Is that a bad thing? How is chopping a block in half any different from punching a cookie? You still play Beat Saber even though after 2 songs on Xtreme Plus you're completely drenched and out of breath. Ladies and gentlemen, to be honest, I think we have a new workout game of the year on our hands. Anyway, if you really want to play this hidden fitness gem, too bad, it's probably not public yet. But if there's a link below, you can download this unholy creation and play it yourself. Okay, that's it. See you next year.